Good day everyone, I am Maricruz Elilorde and I'm tasked to discuss about intrinsic and extrinsic factors to reading. Okay, so what is intrinsic factors or intrinsic motivation? So these are caused by factors from within as if to get a personal satisfaction and want to have the knowledge or ability to do anything. Okay, so in intrinsic factors, tasks are done for the pure enjoyment and satisfaction. For example, teaching yourself something because it feels good to learn it. Next is motivation. So this is the inside eagerness or willingness of a person to learn something through reading. Motivation allows us to gain valued outcomes like improved performance, enhanced well-being, personal growth, and a sense of purpose. Okay, reading motivation. So the first is the prime component in reading motivation is being engaged. Number two, an engaged reader is one who reads for different purposes. Number three, builds knowledge to construct new learning. Number four, participate in meaningful social interaction in reading. Number five, see to understand. Number six, enjoy learning. And number seven, believe in their reading abilities. So in short, when reading in motivation involves the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior. So children who become engaged in reading will overcome the disadvantage of risk in reading. Okay, the next one is the chief component in reading motivation is thought to be self-efficacy. So what is self-efficacy? So this is the ability of a person to judge his own capabilities in regard to a task. It seems to play a major role in whether or not a child takes on reading challenge. So if the learner is motivated to read, he will feel satisfaction and enjoyment on what he is reading, and at the same time he is learning new experiences. If a child has a high self-efficacy, based on research, a child who believes in their ability to accomplish a task in reading achieve good performance in both math and literacy. And he also says reading challenge as just something he can master if he works diligently. So, if the learner has self-efficacy in reading, he will consider reading as a challenge that will help him improve his abilities and skills to gain knowledge from what he is reading. Okay, reading challenge. So the first is another motivation in reading wherein there are goals need to accomplish. So for example, list of questions need to answer. Okay, so some educators having hard time to give questions for the learners to answer for them to assess comprehension. So some are having difficulties in crafting or choosing the best question that will fully assess the quality of comprehension achieved by the children after reading. Okay, next. So the behaviors of a competent, intrinsically motivated reader. So number one, they read for their own sake. Number two, they read for personal interest. Number three, have a sense of deep immersion during the reading process. 5th, find challenges material. 6th, enjoying the experience. 7th, for longer amount of time. And lastly, greater cognitive proficiency in reading. So in short, learners who are intrinsically motivated are the one who read for their own satisfaction or own benefits. So an engaged learner read because of internal rewards like love of learning or interest in the specific subject matter. This type of learner learn to value learning for its own merits. Okay, so the next one is the interest. Here are some important teaching tips in getting children interest to read. So number 1, focus on content. So teachers should focus on the story being introduced to the learners so that they will not be confused on what to do. So number 2, avoid language exercises and tests. So before reading the story, we should not give any exercises or activities to the learners. Number 3, read parts of the story dramatically. So we should allow our students to read the story in accordance with the feeling in the story, or let them involve themselves in the story so that they will learn fully. Next, teach helpful strategies such as predictions and inference. So we should give our students an opportunity to give predictions for what will be the next happening in the story so that the eagerness of reading will stay alive. Okay, next, and the last one, talk about what the students read at home. So our students should let themselves to share and talk the new experience that he is being gained or being learned from the activity in the classroom. Okay, next, here are some examples of intrinsic motivation. Number 1, giving a student a choice to do a project based on their interest or passion. Number 2, participating in a sports because it's fun and you enjoy it rather than doing it to win an award. And number 3, painting because it makes you feel calm and happy. So correct. So we should give our students an opportunity, a choice to do what is in her or his interest. We should not insist our likes. We should let our children explore themselves so that they will learn from what they are doing. Next example of or other example of intrinsic motivation is spending time with someone because you enjoy their company and not because they can further your social standing. All right, so next is the benefits of intrinsic motivation. Number 1, students will come into the classroom excited for the day of learning. Number 2, school will appear exciting and engaging for students. And lastly, students will do the task without fuss and without misbehaving. So meaning, learners, when intrinsically motivated, they will learn, and that learning is lifelong because they love what he is doing. And he will not feel tired in coming to school every day because he is always excited and have the eagerness to learn new skills, new learning, and new experiences. All right, so we are done with the first topic. Now let us move on to the second topic, which is the extrinsic factor or the extrinsic motivation. This is the use of external reward to encourage a certain behavior. So in intrinsic motivation, task is done because completion of the task will lead to a reward or help you to avoid punishment. Okay, so we have here a chart in showing extrinsic factor reading achievement, the material and the teacher as X factor. So the teacher as X factor are model of all positive attitudes and behavior. So we have here the extrinsic motivation. So extrinsic motivation is divided into two. We have here rewards, which are the feedback given to the learners who do the task correctly, and punishment are the task being forced to do for not finishing the previous task. So we have here the first formula, which is the extrinsic plus rewards motivation. So extrinsic stands for the task to current and future goal, while the rewards motivation are the external rewards. So for example, you have given an activity which is the students are given a story to be read in a certain time. So the children or the learner should finish the reading before the times end. If he do so, he will be given a reward. Okay, here the formula number 2 is child reading plus number breadth achievement. So breadth means on the distance from one side to other side of something. So for example, a child given a reading material, and then after reading, it will be assessed of what is the quality of comprehension achieved by the children, by the learner after reading. All right, so next is the flow of luck motivation among students. So we have here motivation, which is the intrinsic and extrinsic. So in extrinsic, we also have rewards and punishment, wherein we already discussed it earlier. So learners are motivated to read to achieve rewards in competition or through competition, reading recognition, and achieve high grades for reading. Okay, so we have here the materials. So number 1, ability to locate needed reading materials. So the first one is use index. Second, use of table of contents. Third, use of dictionary. Fourth, use of encyclopedia. Sixth, use of library card files. 7, use of other bibliographic aids. And the last one is use of skimming in search for information. So if the learner are motivated, he will be able to use the good material to satisfy his eagerness to read for learning. Next, number 2, ability to comprehend informational material. So the first one is application of general comprehension. The second one is develop science-specific skills that needed by special subject matters. So learners acquire the ability to understand and develop the skills that he can be used in all activity he is in. Next, benefits of extrinsic motivation. Okay, number 1, students find encouragement to complete the tasks that are uninteresting yet necessary. So number 2, tasks can be split into regular, manageable intervals with rewards provided intermittently throughout the process, and it is transactional way to motivate people where there is no pretense about trying to make an uninteresting task appear interesting. So meaning, when the learner is motivated to read even the uninteresting one, this uninteresting activity can be interesting to him because he is the eagerness, he has the encouragement to do the task because of the reward he might get from doing the task. All right, so here are some examples of extrinsic motivation. So number 1, token reward. So these are the reward given to the learners to be motivated to do the task. So this could be candies, biscuits, or pencil and other items that could stimulate the eagerness of the child to do the task. So number 2, classroom sticker or star chart. So teacher could use a sticker that could be pasted in the paper of the learner to show that he is very good in the activity, or the teacher could make a chart, written the names of the learners, and then when the task given is done by the learner correctly or successfully, he will put a star on the name of the learner. All right, so the next one is the game-based learning rewards. So through games, the children or the learners will be motivated to do the task if it will be done through games, because children love games. Next, the Premack principle. Now, learner is more likely to complete undesirable task if they will get to follow it up with a more desirable task as a reward. For example, the learner will get a grade of 95 if he will do the task successfully. Okay, the last one is the praise. So this is the most simplest way of giving a reward. So this is through verbal. So if that child or the learner done the activity successfully or correctly, he will get a good job, very good, great job from the teacher, or it could be through chant. So you are going to chant a very good song. For example, very good, very good. And then they will clap 3 times to the learner. Okay, so before I end my report, I would like to share this quote from Ryan and DC 2000, saying to be motivated means to be moved to do something. And that could be all. That ends up my discussion. Thank you for listening.